Alright, good afternoon or good morning. Today we'll be doing factoring by grouping. These are the 7 steps to factoring by grouping. Alright, so the first step is to make sure that your expression is in the correct form. ax squared plus bx plus c. And if it is in that form, then you should be able to factor it. There are certain small cases where you can't factor, and those are prime. Well, I cannot use GCF way of factoring because this is understood to be a 1, that's 7, that's 12. Don't have anything in common. Cannot use DOS because DOS only has 2 terms and both of them have to be squares, and it's called a difference of squares for a reason. So we're going to use factoring by grouping. And just so you can get an understanding, this is understood to be A, the 7 is understood to be B, and the 12 is understood to be C. Now, what is the first step to factoring? And the first step into factoring is multiply your A times your C. So for this one, it should be very simple. A times C. So A is 1 and C is 12. So A times C is equal to 12. Now the second step is to find the factors of A times C. So 12 is our result. So the factors of 12 are 1 and 12, 2 and 6, 3 and 4. Alright, it says find the factors of A times C. That's either add or subtract to give you the result of B. So B is 7. So the result of B is 7. So the only two that will add to give me 7, this will give me 13, this will give me 8, this will give me 7. Even if I was to subtract, so that would be the addition side. Probably the subtraction side. So that's me adding. So 3 and 4 are what I would use. So from 3 and 4, I just need to kind of travel down some more. Replace B with 3 and 4. So go back to this equation. So I will put 3x plus 4x plus 12. Now you probably wonder where the 3 and the 4 come from. Comes from the factors that multiply to give me 12, but also add and subtract to give me my B. Now I have 4 terms now. I can group them in 2s. So the next step would be to group the first 2 terms and group the last 2 terms together. So the first 2 terms get grouped together. I'm gonna stop writing 1. You should just understand that that's 1.
Through this darkness, she was heartless. In every way, I'm losing my way.
Alright, I grouped the first 2 together and I grouped the last 2 together. Now the next step is to factor out the GCF of both groups. So if I factor out both groups, like this group only has in common is an x. So I factor out an x, so I take an x from here, that's only leaving me with 1 x. I take the x from 3, leaves me with 3. Plus, the only thing that 4x and 12 have in common is the common number of 4. Pull out a 4. 4 divided by 4 is 1, and leave me with x. 12 divided by 4 is 3. Now step 6 is write the GCFs of both groups together. So the GCFs of both groups is the X, that's GCF of this one, and the 4. So I write those two together. X plus 4. And the last step is to write the ones in parentheses only once in a group. So X plus 3. You're probably wondering, why do I write this once in a group? And I will show you simply by doing another problem in a short sense. Alright, so this portion is, I'm finna show you why I wrote these two groups right here as one through the problem of just this part right here. So this was me done factoring. So these two made up this answer here. So I'm finna show you by doing the double distributive property again. So if I do double distributive property with this equation, the first step will be to do
I'm losing my way.
Then the next step will be for me to write this one twice.
She was heartless.
So if you think about it, if I just go back to the last two steps right here, that's actually the same two steps. They're just mirror images of each other. But I'm gonna go through the whole process though. So for this, I distribute. So x times x is x squared plus 3x, 4 times x, and then 4 times 3. 4 times x is 4x. 4 times 3 is 12. Now the last step is to add all like terms that you can. So the only like terms I have are those two, and that's 7x. And these are not like terms, so they get pulled down with the 7x. So x squared plus 7 and 12. So now I'm gonna sit these side by side so you can see them. Well, hold on 1 second. Now if you look at it, these are the same exact steps one another. This is double distributive property.
In every way, I'm losing my way. I'm losing my way.
And this is factoring by Rubin.
Through this darkness, she was hard.
Okay. So if you look at it, this is one of the ways that you learn how to multiply binomials to get your result. Then with that same result, you have to factor till you get your actual binomials that you actually multiplied. So factoring is nothing but the reverse process of double distributive property. Okay? So if you look at for each step that I have, is instead of this being my last step here, is actually my first step. Instead of this being my second to last step, is my actual second step. And my third step, well, this is part with grouping. I could have done that actually together. So these two actually are working together. That's this step here. And then the very last step, or the first step, is what my result. It should actually the result of this one. So I hope this helps. If it doesn't, you can message me